Ever since Killjoy got their abilities leaked, there has been an absolute field day. I mean, the floodgates are open, with tons of Reddit posts roasting Riot as a whole, to an entire segment where HIKO really dug in and pretty much roasted Riot about their choices, and really criticized Riot about statements they've made in the past and the way that they are balancing the game going forward. So we're really gonna dig into all that and give you the devs' response to this, and there's a lot of responses that we have to comb through. And also, I'm gonna include an educational clip of the day, and at the end, I'm gonna tell you how you can go pro in Valorant. If that is your goal, there is something that you need to know for this weekend. So make sure you stick around until the end, and also make sure you smash that subscribe button. If you learn about anything in this video, I would greatly appreciate it. But enough talking. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? So after Killjoy got released, a lot of people were mad, rightfully so. Killjoy seems like another character in the same vein as Raze, who people were generally mad about, whose abilities do raw damage, and it really takes away from the gunplay aspect of the game that everyone really wants Valorant to be like. And on top of this, Riot has made a statement in the past about gunplay. Take a look at this clip by HIKO, kind of summarizing the general feeling or ethos of the entire argument.
I think that it's...
Now, while yes, we don't know the damage numbers of a lot of these abilities, basically what HIKO was saying is this goes directly against what Nicolo stated since before beta was announced, that basically that gunplay would be the only way that you kill people, and that doing raw damage with abilities and getting kills with abilities is something that would never ever happen. You see, in the mind of HIKO and many other players, Raze, for example, seems like something more akin to Overwatch than CSGO, and is not really in the game's ballpark or the vision that they want for the game. Now, a Riot dev on Reddit responded to a post very similar to this about Killjoy, and it stated this: I like watching the discussion of upcoming agents because it helps the team collaborate when we are misaligned in information, values, or capability. I also remember the fun conversations around Sova's sonar dart when we showed it in our first gameplay trailer, and how those died down once people learned about the mechanics of it. We're not asking for blind trust, but for me personally, I think the hand wringing and trying to preemptively demand change is a bit overblown. Let's try it out and see how the game takes it and learn together. This is the joy of a game that gets patched every 2 weeks and has all the intentions of staying around for a decade or longer, and we get better through conversation, but we won't get anywhere by being afraid of change. Now, for the most part, this is something that I can 100% agree with. There has been pitchforks out about this change before we even know what the character is like to play against, and there was actually a response to this on Reddit that said, "Thank you for your hard work and transparency. I think that a lot of the things are overblown because fear of the game becoming unbalanced, but at the same time, I feel like if new agents are just slight variations of one already in the game, then the game will be stale and hero tac shooter will be pointless. It's good to see you guys trying different things with agents." And the Valorant dev responded to this saying, "I think that this is the take. Sometimes you have to push the boundaries to understand how resilient the game thesis is, and that seems to be a philosophical hard baked into Riot's design DNA. I think that there are other games that want to take tiny steps towards perfection, but if you ever watch League, you know that's not in the genetics." Now, basically what this is in reference to is they would rather overbuff or overshoot or make dramatic change and reel it back later than be so afraid of change that they're just taking baby steps. They want the game to be ever flowing. They don't want the game to be in a place where it feels stale, and instead of them just dramatically adding new characters that can fundamentally mix up the meta, they're just taking really tiny baby steps. They're making copies of the same character with one tiny tweak. That is not what they want. They want to do extraordinary, insane things and then reel it back if it needs from a balance perspective later on. And for the most part, they have proven that they're willing to balance the game often. So I think that we need to give them a little bit of credit here for how much they want to balance the game. And even if you don't agree with Killjoy on a paper's perspective, you should be happy that at least they're not afraid to try a creative design choice. Now, on top of this, this still doesn't address the elephant in the room, the tweet that the Riot developer Nicolo made way back when, talking about how abilities will never kill anyone and it's only to enhance gunplay. Now, there was a response by Morello about this exact thing, and he said, "Yes, not to throw him under the bus, but the tweet in question is a bit inaccurate and was said a bit hastily without the full nuance. See my other thread on damage, roles, and tactical play. This isn't, quote, outshoot the enemy man's, end quote, only, but it's not an ability fight ability either." He follows this up in another statement by saying, "Abilities doing damage are about generating threat or pressure. Killing is what happens when you can't, getting checkmated by overwhelming odds, or won't, fail to make the right decision, deal with the ability. other case we use to create angle or area control. So what he's saying here is abilities will create that rock in a hard place. Okay, consider Raze's paint shells, for example. Imagine if at its maximum, if you were right in its blast, it did like 90 damage max. Well, enemies could essentially just full stay in a corner and not move out. You could throw a nade right into a corner and they could take the damage, and yes, they would take the damage, but they wouldn't reveal their location, they wouldn't swing out, and it wouldn't essentially force them out of that corner. Now, how do you force someone out of the corner, right? Well, you have to do enough damage to them to force them to move. That is the option. That is the rock in the hard place or threat/pressure that Morello is referring to here. Abilities use damage to create that scenario. Otherwise, there is no reason why someone would want to necessarily give up their information. For what loss? Like, what axis of loss could you give someone that is worth more than knowing exactly where they are? Basically nothing besides killing them. I mean, seriously, that's almost the only thing that is worth more than information, because if someone knows exactly where you are, they can wallbang you, they can swing on you, they can kill you. There's so many different things they can do to you. So if you don't threaten them with damage or death in some form, then you're not gonna get the result that you want. You're never gonna create this dichotomy that Morello is talking about. Now, you could, however, have a problem with the burst damage of paint shells, the power level of said ability, but to say that you have a problem with the entire concept of trying to force someone out of a cubby with damage would be incorrect according to Morello himself. And that is not a design philosophy that he wants to adopt. Essentially, abilities like Molly do a very similar thing, but the damage is at a slower rate, and that can be a power thing. Like, what you could do to balance Raze's nades is just have a longer detonation time instead of an instantaneous one. Essentially, what you would do is you would lower the power level, give people more time to swing out, but it would still do the same thing with damage in the same way that if you stand in a Molly, you will die. And that is pretty much the point that Morello is trying to make here. So basically what I'm saying is you can make the argument about damage is too fast, or there's not enough counterplay to this damage, or I don't like being forced out of this cubby immediately. You can make all these arguments from a power perspective, but to say we can't have any abilities that can kill people in this game, that is not something that Morello ever wanted, and Nicolo's tweet really misled a lot of people here. But according to Morello, this is just not the way that they want it to be, and this is not the way that it's gonna be. So that's pretty much all there is to say about that. Now, that being said, however, for you Raze haters, Morello specifically talked about this in another tweet where he said, 2 issues where I see this not being true is the current satchel in combat use, not for boosting or zooming, to kill in a gunfight, and some cases where you can't do anything about rocket. We are fixing those as part of our commitment to tactical play. And what he's talking about here is, unlike paint shells where you have time to get out of it, right? There is the throw, there is the sound, there is the explosion, there is time, and we could argue about maybe that's too fast, maybe that's not from a power perspective. But with satchels being able to kill instantaneous and rocket being able to kill instantaneous, that's not really what they want to go with gunplay. They want to create that decision, that choice. Like, they don't want something that just goes out and does damage instantly, right? They want something that goes out and has some sort of time or wriggle room where you have a choice to be made. And your choice to be made is, I'm going to leave this cubby and go into fire, or I'm going to go take an engagement right now, or I'm going to run away. That's the choice I have to make right this second. And that's what Morello really wants in the game, not necessarily these kind of abilities. So you're probably going to see some sort of patch to Raze going forward. Now, enough of that hard talk about Killjoy. Let's lighten it up a little bit with this nutty recon arrow that you have to know either if you're playing Sova or if you just want to learn how to counter it, because people are going to whip this out on you and you're going to die and you're going to be very upset. So check this out. This was actually created by a streamer, Average Jonas, which I would highly suggest go check him out. Go give him all the love, because he is a streamer that really finds all these crazy wall bang, Sova arrow, really niche stuff in the game that's really, really cool. So big shout out to him. So check this arrow out followed by this wall bang. It is absolutely nuts. And here's how you do it. So what you do is you go to the left of Haven B on defense around the cubby. You'll find a brick with a break in it, and you'll go slightly to the left of that brick. Then you will line up with the middle notch of the roof. You're going to do a few pixels over the ledge, slightly off the third notch and off the roof as well. Double bounce, and this needs to be pixel perfect, so you're probably going to have to practice it a little bit. But look where this arrow goes. It goes right into A short, and then from there, while the arrow is moving, he rotates to the corner, crouches with an LMG, or you can crouch with a Vandal if you want to, and he can spot enemies in here and kill them. Look, this is so nuts. This could shut down an entire push from A short, which is crazy. And the fact is, this is something that you could do all by yourself in your games, and I know for a fact you're gonna catch people off guard. So this is a crazy thing that I really think you should try out. Definitely try out. And if you want more of these little tiny clips that I put in the video where I kind of teach you something or show you a cool thing that someone has pointed out on Reddit or whatever, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Now, our final story is gonna tell you how to be a pro player, but before we get to that, it's about FaZe specifically, who just announced their Ignition Series Invitational 50K, biggest tournament we've had so far. And a lot of spots are going to be automatic invites. So it's going to be on the 6th through the 19th, which is 2 weeks from now. And it's going to be a lot of the big heavy hitters like Sentinels, Cloud9, TSM, Homeless. All these players are probably going to get invited to the tournament. Now, FaZe has actually yet to reveal their entire roster, but we do know that both Corey and Zachary are confirmed, and it seems that the roster is going to be filled of entirely Overwatch players. And I know what you're going to be saying. Gross, Overwatch players, what the heck? Well, Sinatra is actually a former Overwatch player, and almost all of these Overwatch players were like global in CS. Like, they're not just regular Overwatch players. They're players with a lot of CS background, and they have a fair amount of mechanical skill because most of them are going to be DPS players. Also, Corey, who was confirmed, played with Sinatra in the last Overwatch World Cup where Sinatra got MVP. And even though Sinatra did get MVP, his partner DPS player Corey, even Sinatra himself said that Corey actually deserved it more. So that's just for a grain of salt. That is just something a little bit about Corey. And also, I'm really excited about this because a lot of the rumors that have been coming out about Corey is saying that he is absolutely nuts at Valorant. Anyways, I hope that hyped you up a little bit about the tournament. But if you want to know how to play in this tournament, like if you want to get a spot in this tournament, you have a team, you're ready to go, then I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. You need to go to nerdstreetgamers.com/Valorant. It's a website that you can go to sign up for the Nerd Street Gaming qualifier. And this is going to be this weekend, August 1st and 2nd. And it's an open qualifier, and the top 2 teams will get an invite into this FaZe Invitational. So here's what you do. You make a team of cracked individuals just like yourself. You go into the tournament, you pop off, don't lose any games to get number 1 or number 2. You get into the FaZe tournament, you roll everybody, and then you get signed after you win that entire tournament. That's all you have to do. You just have to be insanely nuts. And you know what? I believe that you can do it, so I can't wait to watch it on the big screen. Anyways, I hope that you learned something in this video. Definitely smash that sub and like button and comment down below how you feel about the entire Killjoy thing, what you think about the educational clip of the day, and are you going to be playing in the tournament? I want to know all of that in the comments down below, but that's all we got for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time.